Does a $150 HexClad hybrid pan live up to its cook anything promise after a full year? Or is it just expensive counter decor? I've had mine for more than 12 months, and here's what you'll see. Just a few light scratches, but overall, it's still in near new condition. It looks great, and you'd think that's a sign of quality, but not exactly. Over the past year, I've had plenty of questions about who this pan is really for. And the truth is, it looks this good because I barely used it. And in this video, you will see exactly why. Hi, I'm Daniel, and welcome to the PissedConsumer channel. In my family, eggs in all their forms are a daily breakfast staple. So naturally, we're starting here. Eggs without oil, pretty much the same as a year ago. A small patch stuck to the surface. The rest of the egg came off fine, but that little spot left behind tiny bits I had to scrape away. In our last HexClad video, we didn't go easy on this pan. We put it through 1000 scrapes with a metal spatula test and more, just to see how it holds up. Check out that video right over here. Here are the same eggs cooked in a regular non-stick pan. Just perfect, exquisite. Which makes me question, what's the point of buying a pan that's advertised as fully non-stick, the kind you can supposedly cook anything on, if you still need oil to make it work? Because if you're going to use oil anyway, you could just use a regular stainless steel or cast iron pan. Now, something trickier, a French omelet. I'll be honest, I never cooked this on a HexClad. And here's why. The omelet sticks and scorches right here in the center of the pan. And here's the result on a traditional non-stick pan. Exactly how it should be. Looks appetizing, barely sticks, easy and pleasant to cook, and the cleanup is just as simple as always. No additional scrubbing needed. So in this round, HexClad doesn't quite match the performance of a good non-stick pan. Now, steak. Here's one cooked on the HexClad, and here is one cooked on cast iron. At first glance, both look pretty good. Nice crust, both cooked to medium rare, but getting there came with a few differences which are worth talking about. The cast iron made this easy. I cranked it up to about 500 to 535 degrees without a second thought. Dropped the steak and the temp held steady even when the meat hit the pan. The center even spiked to around 570 degrees, which is why you get that deep, perfect sear outside. That's what high, stable heat does. HexClad handled the steak too. However, it's a slightly different story. The moment the meat hit, the temperature dipped, then bounced back quickly when I turned up the burner. So, heat response is good. But I kept checking because I was worried it might creep toward 500 degrees, the point where Teflon can start breaking down. And yes, now HexClad changed the coating. But the older pans were PTFE coated, like ours, which is part of what sparked a class action lawsuit. Enough owners reported flaking, scratches, and rust to push for a $2.5 million settlement. If, after legal fees, about $1.7 million were left, and 50,000 people filed. So that's roughly $34 back on a $150 pan. And more claims meant even less return on the investment. Since then, HexClad introduced its PTFE and PFAS free Terabond ceramic coating. On paper, that removes the safety concerns, but ceramic generally wears faster, scratches more easily, and loses its nonstick sooner than PTFE hybrids. In our test, the edges of the pan stayed cooler, about 320 to 355 degrees, making the oil splash and bake around the rims. That's the same area many reviewers say ends up damaged over time. They also mention coating can flake into food, chip after light use, scratch deeply, often on pans purchased from Costco. What's interesting is how HexClad answers those reviews on our platform. When reviews hit harder, HexClad often tends to pivot to talking about us, claiming PissedConsumer isn't open communication, or that they can't reach the reviewer here. So instead of acknowledging the reviewer, they shift the blame towards us. But the reality is, everything is in plain sight. The complaint, their response, and the follow-up. Anyone can see whether the issue got fixed or if they just ducked into the bushes, hoping it just blows over. And that is the whole reason PissedConsumer exists. So you can tell your story the way it happened, find others dealing with the same headache, and get companies to respond out in full public view. So yes, you can sear a steak on HexClad, but the choice is entirely yours. If you'd rather cook without constantly adjusting temperatures or worrying about the pan's lifespan, cast iron or carbon steel are worth a look. Cast iron, for example, does take the high heat without complaint, holds it steady, builds a non-stick layer over time, and can last for generations. And if you need something for more delicate, stick-prone foods, a quality non-stick pan will still do that job without all the stickiness. Something worth thinking about is whether a $150 pan is really built to last or just to show off. And if it's the latter, is this the one you would choose? If you found this video helpful, leave a like, hit subscribe, and share it with somebody who's been targeting a HexClad pan. And I will see you in the next one.